This is an AI-generated podcast based on the article Listen to the Whispers Before the Crash, written by April. The article link is in the show notes. Hey everyone, welcome back to Kingdom Factor Collective. I'm April, and today I'm sitting down with Jonathan Pleska, president of Geared Agency. Jonathan, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, April. It's great to be here.
So, you've worked with some incredible brands, NFL, NHL, Coke, Pepsi. I mean, that's the dream for most designers, right? But in 2012, something dramatic happened that completely shifted your perspective. Can you take us back to that night?
Yeah, absolutely. So here's what happened. I was working these insane hours, pushing myself way beyond what was healthy. And one night, after working late again, I fell asleep at the wheel. My car flipped and hit a tree. When everything stopped, I climbed out, and April, I didn't have a scratch on me. Not a bruise, not a cut, nothing.
Wow, that's incredible. That had to be terrifying, but also, clearly a miracle, right?
It was absolutely a miracle. But looking back, it was more than that. It was a holy interruption. God had been whispering to me before the crash. I just wasn't listening. There were these quiet promptings, subtle signs that I was out of alignment, working too hard, moving too fast, missing what really mattered. The accident was what happened when I ignored those whispers long enough.
That's powerful, this idea of whispers before the crash. What did those whispers look like for you? How were you aware, or maybe not aware, that God was trying to get your attention?
That's a great question. I think at the time I wasn't fully aware, honestly. I accepted Christ in 5th grade, and I knew the words, understood the framework, but I didn't really understand what it meant to have a true relationship with Christ. Not then. That understanding came later, after years of walking and stumbling. Faith became something I lived, not just inherited. And I realized Christianity isn't about religious language or knowing the right answers. It's about relationship. It's about surrender. It's about listening.
I love that. It's about listening. And you've said you've learned to listen to the whispers before life forces you to slow down. So how has that changed the way you actually run your business now?
Well, it shows up in everything, really. How I treat people, how I love them, how I choose my work. I want to be a light for others and reflect Christ in every relationship and business decision. And one of the biggest ways that's transformed things is in the projects I choose and the ones I don't. If a project isn't morally aligned, I'm willing to disqualify it. It's about finding the right tribe, Not every opportunity is the right opportunity.
That takes serious courage, though. Turning away work as a business owner can feel really risky. Have there been moments where that's been tough?
Oh, absolutely. It's not always easy. But I've learned that alignment matters more than revenue. Mission matters more than momentum. And the right tribe matters more than a big contract. Does that make sense? It's about clarity, knowing who you are, what you value, and what you're called to build.
Totally. And speaking of calling, you founded Geared Agency 14 years ago, and now you're focusing a lot on Christian businesses, schools, and churches. What drew you to that shift?
Yeah, so the clients I'm most drawn to now aren't Fortune 500 companies anymore. They're organizations with a kingdom mission. I help them clarify their identity, strengthen their message, expand their reach. I'm especially passionate about helping Christian businesses and schools grow to a national level of influence. And I'm starting to look toward international clients too, schools, churches, places where my creative gifts can serve a larger kingdom purpose, right?
That's beautiful. And you've mentioned that many Christian organizations receive advice that's too generic. Can you unpack that a little?
Sure. What I've noticed is that Christian businesses and schools often get the same strategies, the same frameworks, the same playbooks that secular businesses use, without any consideration for their mission, values, or calling. Christian businesses and schools don't need generic advice. They need targeted strategy that understands their mission. They need partners who know that their work isn't just about growth, it's about stewardship, identity, and kingdom impact.
So it's not just branding, it's mission-driven branding. It's not just growth, it's growth in the right direction.
Exactly. That's the kind of work I want to do. Kingdom-aligned creative work, helping organizations grow, but in the right direction.
I love that. So when you think about other leaders out there who might be struggling with alignment or hearing those whispers, What would you tell them?
I'd say listen to the whispers God is placing in your heart. Those whispers may come through prayer, conviction, dreams, or just a deep sense of calling. They might show up as a repeated prompting, a restlessness, or a holy discomfort with the status quo. Whatever form they take, we need to pay attention. And dreams can carry messages from God, but we have to be willing to seek their meaning. Don't be small-minded about them. Dive into the dream. Discern what God may be revealing.
That's interesting. I think a lot of people dismiss dreams too quickly, but you also warn against letting other people divert us from those callings, right?
Right. Not everyone will understand your vision. Not everyone will support it. That's why it's critical to align with people who will build and cultivate what God is calling you to do. Surround yourself with the right tribe, people who see what you see, believe what you believe, and help you steward the calling with excellence and integrity.
And you recently heard something from Steve Harvey that really stuck with you about jumping without a parachute. Can you share that?
Yeah, so he talked about people who want to jump but don't have a parachute. And that image really captures what faith feels like sometimes. Faith requires you to jump before you can see the parachute. You step out in obedience even when the provision isn't visible yet. You move forward trusting that God will provide what you need on the way down. It's not reckless, it's surrendered. It's not careless, it's courageous.
Wow, that's such a powerful picture. So, Jonathan, as we wrap up, what's the one thing you hope people take away from your story?
I'd say listen to the whispers, align with the right tribe, jump when God says jump, and trust Him to provide the parachute on the way down. Because when you say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things, you create space for God to do something greater than you could have ever planned.
That's beautiful. Jonathan, thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today. This has been really, really meaningful.
Thank you, April. It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, you can find the full article and more about Jonathan's work in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in to Kingdom Factor Collective. We'll see you next time.